Don't see Amy. Angela. Brad?
Yep, I'm here and I don't have any updates, nor do I need my camera activated. Thanks.
Thank you for reminding me. We're actually going to move the community updates towards the end of the meeting for tonight. Cynthia? Connie?
Present, no updates, no camera.
Oops. Dan?
Yep, I'm here. I don't need a camera. Thanks.
Thank you. Gail Manswitz? Gail Dugan? Jason?
I am here and no camera.
Joe?
I'm here, no camera.
John?
Yeah, I'm here. No camera, no updates.
Lauren?
I am here. No camera, thank you.
Lois?
Hello, I'm here.
Lynn Knopf? Lynn McIntosh? Mary?
I'm here, but no camera, thanks.
Thank you. Melissa? Michael? Morande has never attended. Pam? Got you down. Patty?
I am here.
Portia? Richard? Rick?
Here and no camera, please.
Roy? Samra? Sandy?
I'm here.
Celine? Stacy? Teresa? Tony?
I'm here. No camera.
Bill? All right. That includes roll. And Brad, you want to come on and introduce yourself? Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Kelly. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brad Pagatis. I work in Eagle in the Information Management Division as the Division Director. I'm also serve as the Agency Security Officer for Eagle, really in regard to technology. So Kelly and Amy and Abby asked that I come in just to give a brief update kind of on the the situation that occurred during the last meeting, for which we apologize for, and kind of talk through some of the controls and kind of some of the rationale that we've put in place for this. So first of all, I do again want to apologize for kind of the situation and the takeover that occurred last meeting. We did do an investigation, a kind of a twofold investigation. So when we have incidents like that occur, not very often, in fact, the only one that I know of in this type of occurrence, that information is sent over to our cybersecurity folks in DTMB, and they did do an investigation. Unfortunately, there's not much that they could uncover or identify in this situation. So there's not really a whole lot to report in that, other than that we followed our reporting process. They did their due diligence and came back to us with a couple things. One of them that they'd identified was that the security controls that we had in place for that meeting weren't sufficient for a public meeting, obviously, and that the defaults that we had in place as a state for public meetings through Teams had been updated over time, and that probably had been effectively communicated from that organization out to kind of folks that are facilitating meetings. So as a result of that, they did recommend a few things. One of them is way more restrictive than what we've implemented for this meeting. So we're, our goal here, and I know that Kelly and Amy's goal here is to provide opportunity for you all to collaborate and have open discussion and dialogue. And we think that the controls we put in place will allow that still. And basically what we're doing is restricting kind of the use of the microphone and the camera, just much like Kelly had indicated, when you're coming in, and that we'll accept known users, and then we'll provide access to cameras and microphones. This is consistent with how we run probably 99% of our other meetings that are open to the public. In many cases, we don't even allow kind of just the open mic unless people raise their hands and we're turning them on and turning them off. I believe the intent here for this meeting is to just have them enabled so you'll be able to have some free flow discussion. I know that nobody asked for their cameras to be on, but hopefully that's not because of these new controls. Certainly, we'd encourage people to have their cameras on and to have that dialogue. So really, we're really not intending to restrict any discussion. We're really just trying to protect this space and your space from bad actors. Similarly, the department, as we kind of progress in technology, there's a lot more bots, AI type bots, artificial intelligence, or assistants that are added into meetings. So as a rule, we will not allow those from the public. So right now, I could have a bot that I'd had invited to the meeting as well. It could come through as like Otter AI or Fireflies or other type of note taker bots. When we see those, for one, we'll try not to let those in. But if we do see them become part of the meeting, we'll remove those. And part of the reason is that we're recording this meeting already for transparency. We are taking notes, and then we also have transcription or any other kind of modifications or accessibility items that you would need in order to fully participate and have record of this meeting, that will provide that information. When, there's a lot of different flavors of these AI note takers. Some of them will summarize kind of intent or summarize kind of people's perspectives, identify how long they're talking and kind of spaces when they're talking and those type of things. So we're really trying to protect kind of all of our privacies from that perspective as well. I know it might seem a little counterintuitive, but there are some good reasons that we're holding that or not doing that. Trying to think, Kelly, is there anything else? I don't want to take all of your or much more of your meeting, but were there other questions that you had, or is there any questions from the group in terms of that?
Zoom versus Teams.
Yeah, so the state of Michigan's standard is Teams. We do have Zoom licenses that we use on some occasions, but I don't think in this case, I mean, the controls, as far as I understand, wouldn't be a whole lot different if we use that or not. So I don't like, I think we'll continue to use Teams for this format. It looks like there's a question from Daniel.
Yeah, well, and thanks for everything you did in the interim. So one thing I just wanted to flag last time that you may have already covered, but just wanted to bring it up in case it hadn't come up yet. So after we had, kind of reset the meeting and got resettled, it looked like somebody was trying to get back into the meeting again with a really suspicious username, which just indicated to me that, it could have been any one of us, had our email compromised, or, somebody was getting that new meeting invite that hadn't been, put open to the public. So just wanted to, flag that for everybody, just to make sure that there's no suspicious activity in your email or across your various accounts. because any one of us could have been hacked.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks, Daniel, for adding that in. And it is, I'm sure we all have varying levels of experience with technology, but there, we should practice good, what we call cyber hygiene, kind of here at the state, which is, make sure that we're using strong passwords, we're changing them periodically. If you can have the MFAs, multi-factor authentication, turned on, especially for your email or for any of your other type accounts. Keep your devices updated. I think these are just, generally common sense things, but like they're like doing these things does protect you, and it kind of protects kind of all of us in the space. So, John?
Yeah, as participants, are we assured, can we be assured that the meeting is locked? I mean, after we get started?
So in the controls that we have in place here, Kelly admits all outside users, so that they get placed in a waiting room until she decides to admit them, or I say decides, but until she takes action to admit them. So yeah, so thus far, John, I haven't had any occurrences where we've had these controls in place where we've not been able to control people in the meeting. So it was the last meeting where we didn't have any of those controls in place. People were able to join or add without kind of that approval, and then be able to unrestrictedly share video and audio that
Oh, okay. Okay.
that we believe caused the problems. So,
Yeah, thanks for that.
Connie?
Yes, we saw some fantastic technology today with Savannah Guntry's mother. I'm asking, though, the question, if we have the phone numbers, could you not trace back those phone numbers to see the names of the people that were doing such a disastrous thing to us on the phone, on our COG meeting?
Yeah, I don't want to go extremely too far into all the details, but I do know that we had two different groups do some investigation and outreach relative to this event. So I think we've done, I think we've done due diligence in this area, and that that we've tried to do that. I can't, I haven't, I'm not privy to all the outcome of what that investigation is. But short answer is kind of yes, we should be able to do that. And we've provided the information to the folks that we would need to provide it to in order to do that. Any other questions?
Mary?
I just wanted to say that I appreciate the efforts that are being made, and I appreciate Kelly's efforts last meeting to get us back on track as soon as she did. And I think this is a great start. Thank you.
Anything else for Brad? All right, Brad, I think you're excused. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Kelly. And thanks everybody for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay. So this is the agenda that kind of that Sandy sent forward, and I know she's only here for like 10 more minutes, Sandy.
Yeah, I've got to leave at 6:30. So Kelly, I was going to lead the meeting.
Okay.
Jason is dog sitting tonight. I think next on the agenda is going to be Rick Radisky giving an update on the PFAS Awareness Week.
Yes, we had a meeting this Monday, or this past Monday, and we're meeting once a month for the next 2 months. Yeah, 2 months, and then we're going back to every other week. But we're still discussing potential events and would like to hear from COG members or members of impacted communities, what kind of events they would like to schedule. MDHHS has a nice table that they can bring with information on the various programs they're doing. We'd like to maybe set up a speakers bureau of just if you need a speaker to come, let us know, because we don't want to have 50 people trying to make those arrangements at the last minute. So there's people from the state government that can make presentations. There's consultants. There's university people that can do it. So please be thinking about if you need an outside speaker, and let me know, or you could let if you're looking for somebody from the state, you can contact Abby, or I guess you can just talk to me about it, because I can get a hold of both of them. So if you want to have some kind of event, that's great. We've got I'm working with universities, and at least for the Grand Rapids area, one of the local universities, Calvin, is giving a professor there some grant funds to sponsor PFAS Awareness Week events. So I think that's real positive. And because we have extra time, I'm hoping some of the other universities can apply for funding to have events. But yeah, I think we're looking forward to having PFAS Awareness Week, and every time we have discussions, or when I'm involved with discussions on PFAS, there's always different awareness topics to bring up, especially like at universities. We use a lot of compostable and disposable products in all of our in the cafeterias and things like that, and we're looking for maybe events that can be held, or not events, but challenges between universities, which ones can get some of the products taken care of. We had a little discussion today in the web review committee, and we're talking about eye drops, and that's an area that people aren't aware of, PFAS compounds being in it. Maybe optometrists aren't aware of that, or need to be some awareness brought up. But there's so many possibilities about making the public more aware of PFAS. In addition to wells, we're focusing more on wells, but any kinds of ideas that you have to make people more aware of PFAS in your community or generally around the state, please let us know. So thanks. Any questions?
Yeah, if I could just piggyback on this, Rick, I know when we talked earlier this week, Daniel brought up a really good idea about like settling on 2 or 3 asks or areas that we're going to emphasize, or things that we're going to highlight, kind of so that all, we're bringing a really cohesive message together and not just kind of scattershotting it. So, of course, like a good state employee, I wish I was one now, I could just drop this on your lap and then bail out because I got to leave for another meeting. But I just wonder if we should think about that and kind of brainstorm ideas of what would be the 3 really or 4 really important things to get across, because it's a real different thing throughout the state, right? I mean, the folks that are on the east side of the state are dealing with stuff that's probably a bit different than west side. And so just a thought.
Yeah, that's a great comment. And we have wells and sampling of wells. That's one of the major areas. But yeah, if there's other things to talk about, that would be or try and get across, that would be really good. So something on fishing advisories. In Grand Rapids, we've got a number of exposed people. We talked about potentially having something to do with medical, the continuing education credits or something involved with informing the medical healthcare groups. But anyway, is there any thoughts on that?
Rick, I was wondering, previously we tried to do a in-person meeting and people wanted something to actually do. Do you think that prior to this week, it would be a good idea to meet together, or is email and the meetings for the COG and the general monthly meetings enough?
Well, if you have some ideas, please let me know. So I can take that to our planning committee, or you're feel free to attend our planning committee meetings. So
and they're Mondays at 2:30. Is that correct?
Well, they're every other Monday at 3 o'clock. And I can send you the Zoom link for that if you want to attend next month. You can certainly do that. And I know you were planning on something for the Holly area, so we'd be glad to.
Yeah, 3 o'clock is tough for me, but I don't know about other people.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any ideas as far as good topics like Sandy was talking about? John?
Well, I must confess, I'm ignorant with respect to, our over-the-counter medications that we get, things that we use every day, or things that we use periodically, and what the PFAS content is. I mean, are we intending to address some of that topic? I mean, this eye drop thing just kind of scares the bejesus out of me. So, so there.
Yeah, Brad brought that up, and yeah, it looks like Lauren has done some research on it. So yeah, I mean that's an example of awareness. I don't know how we want to handle that. Maybe we can have some specific information about that, or just have a program to contact some of the optometrists. But yeah, I'm concerned about that too. I just got dry eye medication. I got 2 different kinds, and I'm wondering, what's in it. It doesn't tell me what's in it. So yeah. But
let alone the microplastics that might be there.
Yeah. But those are all examples of awareness. What's in our medications, what's in our clothing, what's in our packaging. Those are all good questions to ask and raise people's awareness, because the more we realize that it's in certain everyday items, those are the ones that we should be trying to get it taken out of.
Yeah, I so agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's either going back through the supply chain, or just not buying it, or just telling people that we want PFAS-free materials. So I know when I go to my eye appointment, I'm going to tell my optometrist that I don't want any PFAS stuff.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be selling it either. So or recommending it.
Just one follow-up question. I don't know if for anybody. I mean, is there a source or a reference or a database somewhere that we could point to, or our friends and our communities, to be aware of this? As you were saying about the awareness element. I mean, is this data around somewhere in a collected place that the COG could point?
Well, there are 2, and they're not very complete, but the PFAS Central website has a list of PFAS-free products, and what I like about their list is that it's vetted. You know, they're part of University of California, and they actually vet. Somebody actually calls or does some kind of due diligence on the product itself. We don't rely on just the manufacturer to say there's no
Right.
PFAS in it. And there's also the PFAS project that's at Eastern University's got a list of you know, PFAS-free materials too. Those are the two best ones that I know of.
Would you mind, Rick, would you mind just dropping that info in the chat real quick?
I will do that right now.
Thank you very much.
Or as soon as I'm done talking, I'll put that
Yep,
in.
of course. Thanks.
Are people aware too that there is a website that you can get called Yucca, Yuka, an app? And I think you take a shot of the barcode on there, and if it's been checked by that app, then it will tell you whether it has contaminants. It's not specific to PFAS, but it would tell you. And I think another person from the state had chimed in previously that there's a Clearya, Clearya, I think might be another app similar to that if anybody wanted to try it.
Yeah, the Clearya, I've tried that one myself, and it doesn't apply. It applies to I think cleaning products. It doesn't apply to a whole variety of, you know, it's not a universal product, and it's got some limitations. I don't know about Yucca though. I'd have to look into that.
I've tried it different times. It does bring some things up, but again, it doesn't do everything. But
Yeah.
It's still better than nothing if you're looking for something like that. Angela just put something in the chat as well.
Yes, EWG certainly is a good resource. I've had a chance. I've been on a couple of calls with the head scientist there. I can't remember his last name's Andrews, I think. But they have this wonderful website called Skin Perfect or something. I can't remember the exact name, but it's cosmetics, and it goes into, you know, almost excruciating detail on, you know, bad things that are in cosmetics or potentially hazardous things that are in cosmetics. And I asked several times to include PFAS in there, and they haven't done it. But yeah, there's the EWG website just in general for contaminants, especially the personal care products, shampoos, and things like that. Non-PFAS, if you want to find out if there's, you know, coal tar or other things in there, that's good. But yeah, I'll put those links up in a little bit. I see Brad's got his hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to add to the comment, John, your comment about discovering things that are in products that we maybe have used historically or that are still at, you know, maybe on shelves in the garage, as we got off a couple of tangents in our discussion this afternoon. So that's one of the things we were thinking we're going to try and explore a little bit more, as far as whether there are opportunities for not only making people aware of what purchases for new things, but also for existing products that may have PFAS in them. The actual ingredients lists are usually quite brief, and many times are just listed as proprietary ingredients or, you know, general categories of fluorosurfactants. So one of the things that we were thinking might be part of this, if we can make it happen, would be to also work with the various household hazards collections or something like that, where these products that we have in various places, like Scotchgard or whatever, that we might have hanging out on a shelf someplace that's been there for 20 years or 15 years or whatever. Those are the kind of things we could get out of the waste stream and collect them, and potentially do what the AFFF foam collection did, and instead of just having them disposed of in landfills or disposed of down the sewer, collect them and find a proper way of disposal and destruction. So those are things that we're just kind of like we were brainstorming about a little bit in our meeting. It got off topic a little bit from our normal discussion, but it's useful and it was related to this. So
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, and then that's, something that, like I know Ottawa County has, several sites to drop off hazardous waste, and we could contact our counties and just make sure they're set up for PFAS. People bringing in PFAS materials. That's the first thing, but we might want to have somewhat of a campaign to get people to bring those in and get those away from their house, because especially if you're in a rural area and you wind up spilling that stuff on the ground, it could contaminate your wells or something, and it could certainly contaminate surface water getting in storm water if you wash it down the drain or wash it into the street or something. But yeah, I think that whole thing about the household waste would be good too, because if people start are aware of different things that have PFAS that they're potentially in their garage or something, I think that's certainly a benefit. And I posted the PFAS free products link for PFAS Central, and I'll put up the PFAS project in a little bit. So,
Thank
but
you.
that's a pretty decent website. It's got all sorts of products, and like I said, they've been peer reviewed by scientists at the at PFAS Central, University of California, Berkeley.
Daniel?
Yeah, so I've said similar things in those PFAS or the awareness week team meetings, but just to get in front of the whole group. So when I only have say 30 seconds to talk to somebody, what are the things that top level come to mind to protect themselves? The first thing, and we kind of see it in talking through all these things, is like you can kind of drive yourself crazy by going after all of these different products and what PFAS is in. I mean, it really is just in everything. It's in interior household paint. I was painting some rooms in our house and went down that rabbit hole, and there's some water resistance there, so there's some PFAS there. So you can you just drive yourself nuts chasing all these strings. And what it comes back to for me is like it's reducing exposure. So like when you only have a few seconds, or you really want to make sure a message breaks through to somebody, I'm thinking like, well, what are the things I want to make sure these people are doing to protect themselves? And it comes back to, is PFAS in your drinking water? So I think we're all pretty familiar with, the list of things people can do on that. But then, the next thing that's really emerging is PFAS in food and the food supply. So within that, we have a lot of good information on eating safe fish that's caught inland and wild. So we have, good information on that part of it. But I think we need to find more around, protecting ourselves from PFAS in the food we eat generally. And then there's like a 3 and a 4 on this. The next one is like PFAS in cookware or things that you're going to be, eating from. So food packaging, utensils, things like that. And that reduces most of your exposure. And then that sort of the fourth one is finding the things that you're doing a lot that are probably specific to yourself, but are really systemic in how you might be exposed to PFAS. So one, just because the Olympics are on, like ski wax has come up. So if you're a skier, like that's something that you could do that would, pretty noticeably reduce your exposure risk. If you're into a different sport, there's probably something else that's going to come up on that. but it's, you know, it's those basic things of like thinking through like what are the really like the primary exposure pathways for people, and then trying to address that. And then the last thing I always tell people is like, this is going to get worse as long as we're using the PFAS. Like these things don't break down, they accumulate. So as long as we're still using those and we're not banning them or stopping using them in some fashion, like it's going to get worse. So, you know, that core message of just like, we got to stop using these at some point. We can't keep using these. It's unsustainable. I feel like that needs to come through loud and clear.
Thanks, Daniel. Anybody else have anything to add to the conversation? Looks like Jason put something in the chat. If you Google ITRC PFAS, it should take you to a good resource that has a lot of information on PFAS, including some of the products that contain it. Thanks, Jason. And Lauren, thanks for adding.
I like to bring the older one, that is cosmetics. Is there some kind of a list of clean cosmetics in that webpage?
I'll have to look at it. I'm sure there are, you know, some manufacturers that are with cosmetics, but it's not a. Let me bring that up again.
I've seen a list on that somewhere that was reputable, and I want to say it was with the similar group that was looking at sunscreens.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say there's a whole list under cosmetics and personal care products. You know, like Sephora is a and Whole Foods Market, H&M. I'm not familiar with them. Credo, and then yeah, there's a whole list of PFAS-free products. They've got dental floss, you know, listed, which is a biggie, and then first aid products. It's not a lot of there's not a lot of products here, but you know, cosmetics are certainly something that you know, is important, and it's not just cosmetics for women, but you know, shaving cream is a big one. So you know, we're putting shaving cream on. I put shaving cream on my face, you know, every other day. So yeah, there's certainly a need, and I think, you know, going back to what Sandy said, if we could come up with 4, you know, major areas that we want to raise awareness on, and you know, the first one is the wells, and then, you know, it could be household waste, it could be consumer products, but we would like to get at least 3 or 4 major areas that we want to try and highlight with programming and materials.
Yeah,
So if you wanted
cosmetics made in the US different from, say, France or in any other country? That was the question from my boss at home, and I said, just wait, be patient, but been a while.
Yeah. Well, it looks like there's some U.S. manufacturers. I'm not familiar with, you know, cosmetic manufacturers, but there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 or 10 different names. And again, I'm not familiar with any of these names. The only one that I'm familiar with is Sephora, but because they smell good. But anyway,
I'm aware of one company called Purity Woods that has personal care products. I don't know necessarily that they have cosmetics, but as far as the actual soaps and things like that, that might be one. And Angela put in the chat, Think Dirty Shop Clean is an app for clean cosmetics and personal care products. And it says many beauty companies are now starting clean beauty lines as well. Thanks, Angela. Thanks, Rick, for presenting.
Sure.
And Amy, I guess we're ready for you to do an MPART update. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I had some stuff on top of my screen there, so thank you very much. Yeah, just a couple of things as I'm filling in for Abby here. About a month ago, we issued awards emails to about 19 airports across the state, totaling $9 million. And that is for them to continue, in some cases, finish up monitoring they need to do to either address stormwater or evaluate their groundwater plumes. Some of these grants included feasibility studies, so they can figure out the best option for remediation. 5 of them are actually implementing remediation practices. And then under a separate funding source, we provided some funds for them to clean out fire trucks and or purchase new turnout gear. So we've got a kind of a mix of different activities that will be happening on these various airports. So moving forward with that. Also on the same day as the last day of this call, we had just added MPART site number 332. So that's how many official MPART sites we're up to. That site is called 2231 West Willow Street, and it's adjacent to an existing MPART site, the Racer Lansing Plant 236 site. There's no residential wells involved in this one, but that's always the first thing we look at. And as with any other new site or area of interest, those get added to the landing page at the top of the landing page of the MPART website. Last couple of things, and of course, we're always moving more MPART sites through the process. We've got usually anywhere from 5 to 10 that are working through our communication process. So. And then the last thing I'll mention real quickly is that we're working on updating our sampling guidance documents. We get a lot of people from around the country and some people around the world that are tapping into those sampling guidance documents. Some of them go back to 2018, and we are needing to make all of our documents that are posted online ADA compliant. So we figured this would be a good time to take a fresh look at those and see what we needed to do update those. So you'll be seeing some updated documents in the next few months going out on the sampling guidance pages. So that is all I have for you all tonight. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Now, in the last meeting, we had talked about the fact that some members in the members only meeting that we had held previously, that they commented that they liked having community updates, but a little bit more specific than and lengthier than just the updates at the beginning of the meetings for the COG meetings. So just wondering if or that. Last month, Abby said that it might be possible for members to ask some of the Eagle staff directly if you have questions not specific to your sites in your area, but more general type questions like how to find a different map or anything like that. So is there anybody who has any updates or questions that you would like to ask? Kelly.
I don't have a question related to the topic that you were just talking about, but I didn't want to lose these 3 things for discussion before we conclude the meeting. So if nobody has any updates, I'll give that a minute though first.
It doesn't appear to me that there is anybody who has any. Oh, John.
Oh, I had a little trouble getting my hand up there. I guess the interest that I have is, hey, gosh, it'd be nice, if I knew there was a hotspot nearby. And I know that, there's website information available to us that we can look at on the MPART site. And And that's helpful. But, quite often, that might be a little stale, and it might not have enough context information that, do I need to let my neighbors know, or our local area know, or even my family? And is there something going on nearby that I need to be aware of? Is there a good venue for identifying that kind of information?
Actually, I signed up for a program that's going to be coming up, and it's going to be soon, I think, where you can talk to Eagle. Eagle is actually presenting it, and they're going to show you like how you can sign up to be alerted in your area, I think. So if there's anybody from Eagle that would be able to comment on that, or I could forward you the link when I find it. Rick?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that there's a database called RIDE that has all the 201 sites, and that's most of the PFAS sites. But if you bring up the map, the MPART map, and that will show PFAS sites in your area.
Right.
And if you can find that particular site in RIDE, for example, if you live near let's say Wolverine, unfortunately, Wolverine Worldwide, you can just click on the RIDE database, and it'll give you all the information related to that particular site. And it's DNR or Eagle correspondence, and then correspondence from the company or their consultants. And that's a really good way to find out what's happening on some of the sites that the information is pretty old on the MPART website. I know I have a small grant to bring some information up on the sites in Muskegon, and I saw some information on a site that it didn't look like there was much going on, and then I looked in the RIDE database, and there was some residents that did some sampling, and the county has come in and hooked up, I think, like 70 homes to public water because of the contamination. And that stuff wasn't listed on the website, but I learned all of that looking in RIDE. So I'd recommend that. It's not as, it takes time, your own time to look at it, but you can certainly find a lot of information that you're not privy to without calling up and asking the project manager. I mean, that's the other way to do it is just call the project manager of a site and then ask them for an update.
Thanks, Rick. That's really helpful. Appreciate that.
It looks like Patty just put something in the chat. She signed up to get MPART Monday emails. I always look to see if there are new sites listed, especially near me. And it says PFAS response. So www.michigan.gov/PFAS response. Then scroll down to subscribe yourself. Did anybody else have any questions or updates for their area?
Rick, you have your hand up.
Amy?
Yeah, if it's helpful at all, just a reminder that every time we find a new MPART site, so a site where we have groundwater over criteria and it's the source of PFAS, the first thing we do is we get a team set up with DHHS and local health and Eagle staff, and the first thing they do is they figure out the groundwater flow direction, and they're evaluating whether there's any nearby residential wells that we think are in harm's way. And then they work with MPART central staff here and get our list of residential wells together to be sampled, and we have AECOM then go out and basically, schedule and actually do the sampling. So that is a key part of every single one of our investigations. So I didn't know, John, if that was something that you were familiar with, but that is, part of what we do. So you mentioned talking to your neighbors. So hopefully if your neighbors are, near an MPART site, that site had been evaluated at some point, for the drinking water well situation.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. Yeah, we are aware of that. It is helpful.
Amy, how long would you expect that finding out that groundwater plume would take generally?
That is a great question for Mike Jury, but I think it really, really varies depending on the site. So, Mike, are
Okay.
you still on? You want to take a stab at that one?
Sure, it depends on the geology of the area, because if you have 10 foot of sand on top of 100 foot of clay, then it's not as difficult. It's not as difficult if it's a hilly area. It's not as difficult, things like that. But then you have areas where the depth of groundwater is a couple 100 foot. You have areas where you have glacial geology, which makes it extremely difficult because you have channels, outwash areas. So the answer is it could take a couple days and it could take a couple weeks. It just really depends. Michigan is a complicated place for lithology, geology, with all the glaciers that we've had. You go up to the UP and it's a whole different animal up there. So I don't have a good answer because there is no good answer.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
If we get lucky and we have a new site and there is a lost site nearby, meaning a old gasoline station that had a release, a lot of times we get very lucky because somebody has already done groundwater flow there and we can use that data. But unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that we get, no, there's nothing nearby and we have to figure it out. But sometimes quick, sometimes not.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody I'm missing? Rick.
Yes, I just wanted to highlight that Mike Jury just a little bit ago put in some real, I guess, sobering information about PFAS and cosmetics. Posted something in the chat about our use of cosmetics and then washing our face and it going into wastewater treatment plants. It's a major load of PFAS to wastewater treatment plants, and certain products like hair gel and face cream and stuff like that are particularly bad. So I would say raising awareness on cosmetics is certainly something that we should probably look at doing in PFAS Awareness Week, just because it's such a large load going to wastewater plants. Yeah.
That is a good point.
Yep.
Does anybody have a suggestion next couple months as far as topics? I know we covered a few of them in the discussion last month, and we're going to see about arranging for speakers in those areas. But if anybody has a specific concern or that they'd like to have covered sooner, let us know. Kelly, did you want to go ahead since I'm not seeing any raised hands?
Since last month's meeting, did get a question on how new memberships are vetted. And I actually had a conversation with Sandy about this as well, and she kind of wanted to open this up for discussion for the group. According to the charter, it says new members, they basically can submit a member request if they're from an impacted community. So back in the day, in the beginning, we really tried to make sure that members lived near a site with groundwater contamination. Over the years, with interest of gaining additional members to the COG, we've kind of went lax on that. So we've pretty much accepted anybody who submits an application. When I receive the application, I send it to the MPART agencies just to see if they have any comments or knowledge of the person that's wanting to become a new member. And then I reach out to the member and offer them a couple dates, an opportunity to do a meet and greet with Abby and I, just so we can kind of connect, learn about their background and what their interest is with the COG. For the majority of the time, the new members have taken advantage of that. Sometimes they haven't, and that's fine. But following the meeting that we had, the following week, we had another member request come in, and it came to me from what I thought was a suspicious email address. And it was signed suspiciously. So kind of wanted to have some discussions on any ideas of how we can vet new member requests. If anybody has an idea for that.
Well, in light of last month's meeting, I guess you would know more as far as suspicious emails and things like that, or even Brad in the presentation, at the beginning of this meeting, if he had any suggestions as far as what to look for suspicion. I mean, I do appreciate the fact that it would be good if we had more members, and that, in fact, I have to go through the list yet of people who last year didn't attend any or just a couple meetings. It looks like Jason commented in chat that it may be possible to do some social media stalking of the name to see if they are legit.
And on this particular one, I did that. Still being scarred from the previous meeting. I did that on my own personal device, and I found that their profile picture had a picture of them and they were holding up a middle finger.
Seems sketchy. Yeah.
With that said, they were from a community that does not currently have an MPART site. So anybody's thoughts on going back to the way it's written in the charter of potentially only accepting people from impacted community?
So at different times we've had to do, just basic, proof of person verification. And Google does this with like Google My Business and stuff, where it's, you could basically mail them a postcard with like a verification code or something that they then just email back. So then,
The interesting thing about this one was the member request was sent to me by one email address, which seemed suspicious. And then on the application, they provided a different email address.
That's very suspicious. Yes, I agree.
So,
Yeah, I like, oops, sorry. I was just gonna say, I like the idea put in the chat of like having someone from the org meet with them just to vet them, like video chat, kind of like a orientation / interview. But also I would slightly like to push back on the idea of only having people join from the most impacted communities, because arguably I would say that, like, I mean, everyone's impacted, and I've learned a lot from this group, even though I'm not in like a significantly impacted community.
And, I would agree with that because of the fact that when we're doing this PFAS Awareness Week, we're hoping that we're going to impact more people outside of the people who necessarily know that they're impacted. So I think hopefully we will gain more new members even just by this outreach that we're going to have come September. But I do appreciate Kelly's dilemma in trying to arrange for that. Marcus Wasilevich did put in the chat that after the background and social media stalking, could someone have a pre-interview with them as a Teams meeting, maybe pre-vetting with a small group, and somebody put a thumbs up. And then Ian Smith had put in sponsorship from a current COG member and also a thumbs up. I would love to sponsor somebody as far as a new member, but have not had much luck in trying to attract new people to join this group. But thanks for including all of those.
I think that sponsorship idea is really good, and I think the very simple 5-10 minute call of like, are you a real person? What are your interests? Just making sure that they're a real person with genuine concern, that feels very reasonable to me. And we can just provide the context, like that the meeting was hacked at one point or hijacked, and we just need to be careful. So I think that's very reasonable. You can figure out some way to link them up with other COG members just for a very quick video chat, or in some cases it might be an in-person chat if they're close by. But yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Angela put in. Sorry, Dan.
Oh, no, I think that's a good idea. I think, like I was saying, having, if they're comfortable providing a mailing address, that is like a very low bar. So if it's, we're going to send you a postcard that has a code on this, email the code back to us when you get it, or, a picture of the postcard, something like that. Phone number, I think, is an okay request as well. Some information that's not, private or particularly sensitive, but would still just verify that they're not a bot or not trying to hide behind multiple email addresses or etc.
Angela had written in that Abby had given her an orientation when she first joined, and it was very helpful. We could do a new member orientation / vetting video call. This has been brought up previously in the surveys and that, where some members thought that would be very helpful to have experienced COG members to either mentor them or do an orientation. We even had talked in membership about doing some kind of orientation packet that we could share with new members, but we haven't gotten there yet. Thanks for putting that in. And Rick had put in request a recommendation or a reference. Kelly, did you want to share something with this?
Yeah, so this is the information that's on the application that they have to submit. So, talking about like the last new member request, all of this information was provided. So yeah.
That's better. I want to vacuum that off.
So as far as that person that you were questioning about, all of this information was filled out. Did it look suspicious on what they filled in?
So this part didn't look suspicious. This part did not look suspicious. The email that was sent did.
Okay.
And we can talk more about that offline, but I'm wondering, so what I'm hearing is we want to keep it open basically to anybody that's interested. And then
You're okay, Sauce.
is membership, is that subcommittee interested in maybe coming up with some criteria of in out, like at all? Is that appropriate?
In out as far as putting
you meet the
admitting
criteria
members and then yeah, I mean, we could probably try to do that. Particularly if it helps you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just so afraid now of, accepting somebody. Everybody that's here is
I don't think we can
trusted.
blame you for that, Kelly.
Right.
That's
I don't
for
want
sure.
it to be on my shoulders, right?
Yeah.
I think it's good safety practice just to verify that the person is real. And I mean, I think that that's a very reasonable thing, is to just have a quick video conversation with them ahead of time. I think that, pre-interview orientation, whatever you want to call it, that feels totally appropriate to me.
All right, so we'll continue to do our best with that. And then historically, we've obviously posted the link on the public calendar so that anybody can get in. Thoughts on continuing to make the meeting open to the public? So this particular meeting is not subject to the Open Meeting Act because it's a work group. It's not like an official board.
Okay.
I talked to Sandy. She's always pushed for it to be open to the public and available for the public to join. And realize with that, unfortunately, then we're letting potentially untrusted people in the meeting. Thoughts, discussion.
I think it's okay to have it, public upon request or something like that. I feel like that's reasonable. It's not ideal, but an ideal world, everybody could just sign on and watch. I mean, I do think the checks that we have in place on the actual meeting now, I think, are much safer. So, the waiting room, cameras off. We're all going to be on guard a little bit better. So, I do think there is a level of safety that even the changes we have in place now provide. I think what I fear more is just, people getting in and getting something that's even more disruptive. for information that's shared, if that's possible. I think with what you have in place now, I think what they did before, them repeating that is pretty unlikely, but yeah, I mean, I think it's totally reasonable to say like, these are public, but you got to let us know in advance. And we'll send you a link.
So would we actually post that like on the calendar where that meeting is? Just have that statement on there? Do you think?
And then what criteria should we set up to vet that request?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, the
I guess I
meetings
would.
are all recorded and then posted. We are behind on 2 months. I haven't received the YouTube link back yet to post, but they all are recorded and posted. I did talk to Sandy about, you know, if a rep or senator had interest in joining, obviously we could provide the meeting link to them or even press. Do people feel passionate about it continuing to still be made available publicly?
I guess my short answer is I trust your veto.
Actually, if there's a good way to check their legitimacy, I'm not a technology person, so I would be the wrong person to to advise on that. But I don't think I've ever been as strong as Sandy has on keeping it fully open meeting. But if the fact that people can review the meetings after they've been recorded, maybe for at least the first couple, they could do that and we could see how that goes. But I'd even be happy, Kelly, to talk to you about this afterwards even. And anybody else who wanted to join in on that conversation, so we don't take up the whole thing for this, but.
I was wondering if I could tap into your feedback because I know that you felt strongly about also having it open to the public.
Who's that?
Tony.
Oh.
You're on mute if you're talking. So maybe we'll sidebar that for now.
Okay.
Oh, there's Tony.
I'm sorry, this is Tony. I had to step away and I think I heard my name. I apologize.
You did. I was wanting to know your feedback. I know that you in the past had felt strongly about having these meetings open, available to the public. What are your thoughts now?
Yeah, no, I mean, I still think they should be. And but obviously the events that happened, last time certainly are a sobering thing and something I think we have to keep in mind. And I don't know what kind of filters you have and how reliable, it can be for you to block people who are potential problems. So I think we just have, for lack of a better answer, I think we just have to balance those, those two competing factors out. And again, I don't know how easy or hard it is for you to filter, those kind of things out. And so we certainly can't have those happening. And one thing, I guess here's a thought. I know when we have our RAB meetings in Oscoda, you have to register ahead of time. And I don't know if that's a way to, if you have people who aren't you typically don't come and they have to register ahead of time and at least provide an email or some kind of identifying factor. Is that possible? Is it realistic? Again, don't want to make it too burdensome for Eagle staff. So yeah, sorry, I don't have a clearer answer. It would I'd love it to be as much open as it could be within reason.
Yeah, so and I appreciate that. I mean, basically once we let a stranger, if you will, in to the meeting, we're not going to know it's a problem until we all know that it's a problem, right? And then it's just working to kick them out and hoping that they don't multiply like they did last time. But that leads us to our next thing. Shall that occur again? I think the plan will be the same. Everybody hop off the meeting, and I'll do my best to hurry up and get the members a new link to try to control that.
I actually think that sounds like a good idea. You know, when you consider that we've actually had years of meetings like this without having any kind of incident. However, now that they've gotten in once, are we more vulnerable? Hopefully with the protections that Brad and you and other staff have put in, we're going to be more protected in the future. But it is a crazy world.
Yeah, and actually the guidance from Department Technology Management and Budget that I received today was they strongly encouraged us to set up this meeting as a town hall meeting where everybody from the public had to submit their questions ahead of time. And I was like, that's not going to work. This is an open forum meeting. It's got to remain that way. And so he just said, you know, the more freedom that you allow for public to join, the more potential that this can occur. And they are dealing with it in another agency as well. So apparently it's starting to be a thing again. So.
Okay. Well, I know in the past, even on subcommittees, we've even had like college professors who give our information to their students to join in, just as listening. Subcommittee, we had several times where students actually joined in just to listen in. I don't know that we've had very many people from the general meeting where that's happened. I know last year we had Colleen Lynn, who joined in, the doctorate student from Wayne State. She was on regularly. So I'm not sure.
So maybe for the short term, I'll just have them add the meeting on the public meeting calendar and just put some language out there if interested in attending the meeting. Please request a link. And I'll give them my email address and see what kind of interest, I guess, comes from that.
Okay. And you'll just keep us informed, right? I mean, as if you've had multiple problems with suspicious emails and that as you go forward.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, I'll keep you updated.
So, yeah, I think the safeguards you've put in place are good. One other thing is, if we don't know who somebody is and if they've found their way into the meeting and we don't know who they are, I think it's very reasonable just to keep them in, audio, video lockdown, until we know who they are, or they can submit a question by the chat. And then if one of us knows who they are, then we can vouch for them. I think that's very reasonable. It's just explaining, why we're doing that. That's kind of onerous. But I don't think there's really anything that they can do if they're just sitting there listening. The other thing I guess I was going to check is that, where it really spirals out of control is if they can invite others into the meeting. So if that ability to admit others is taken away, that also is a huge safeguard.
Yeah, so it would just be the organizers in the meeting that can let people in from the waiting room.
Yeah.
So, if Joe Smith sends me a request that he would like a link to attend the meeting because he's got interest, I shoot him the link. I see him come in the waiting room. I let him in, but then if Bobby Lee shows up that I have no knowledge of, I probably am not going to let him in the room. Is that fair?
Sounds fair to me.
So Kelly, just to clarify, so when somebody joins in and they're in the waiting room, are they still able to hear everything that's going on or no?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, that might be interesting. So John says, how do we restrict those allowed in to invite their friends?
We can only put so many criterias on it, unfortunately, and that's the downside of making it truly open to the public. The more public you invite, the more.
Once the link is out there, the link is out there. They could forward it to 1,000 people. Yeah.
Well, and then too, you're trying to participate in the meeting and be letting people in at the same time. So that's a challenge too. Does anybody else have any comments or?
Should we vote on whether or not we're gonna make them open to the public or not?
I'm sorry, I missed part of that. Did you say, do we want to vote on whether we want to make this public?
Yeah. Or try and see. What do you guys want to do? I just don't want to be responsible for letting the wrong person in the door.
We can appreciate that.
Well, so I do want to reemphasize that nothing about what happened was anybody's fault. So, that was entirely on the idiots that pulled it off. So, everybody was trying to do the right thing here and somebody took advantage. So I guess I support, basically what you proposed, which is, requesting the email. That's just, it's a step that a real person would have to do that. getting the invite, then they're going to go through just sort of this manual recognition of, do we recognize this person? They can't admit others into the room once they're in. That's a pretty important step. And again, with the video camera lockdown, it's not going to be an inviting place for them to do something like what they did last time. So I feel like what you propose is very reasonable, and it adds just some really basic layers of protection. The meeting's still public. It just requires, unfortunately, a little bit more attention and forethought to join, but it's very reasonable given what happened.
Patty put in, can we put a deadline on requesting a link to the meeting? Once that window is closed, no others can be let in. That leaves us time to vet them. The only thing that I see with that is what if one of the actual members is running late? And would they still be able to get in because you recognize them?
So all
John
members
agreed,
are
closed.
gonna have, all of the members are gonna have the meeting link, just like they have had it.
Okay,
So
right.
that request would only be for somebody that's not a member that just has interest in joining.
Okay.
So I would say, I mean, it's reasonable to put time frame. Submit a request 1 week prior.
Is 1 week too much though?
We got to start somewhere, Mary.
Yeah, I mean that's like a pretty reasonable. We could say a week, and then if Kelly has time to check it 2 days before, you know what I mean. But it's just like you have to submit your updates for the city council packet, a week in advance or whatever it is.
So Marcus just put in any way to disable the chat except for COG members, like panelists. I am worried videos/images can be spammed there, right?
Well, links could be anyway.
So it doesn't look like I can restrict the chat to just certain people. So it's either basically on or off, it looks like.
Well, Kelly, do you think that in your best interests, it is to set that week limit for new people?
I mean, for outside people that didn't submit a new member request form and just have interest in joining, I think it's reasonable to ask that they requested a week prior to the meeting. Obviously,
Okay.
I'm not necessarily it's not gonna be like a true deadline, but at least that will give me some time to do kind of a laugh test to figure out if I can figure out any information on the person.
Well, personally, I'm willing to let you make the call because you're the one doing most of the work.
Okay. Thank you. I'll come up with something and I'll just have people can request the link if they're interested. So
Okay. I'd like to point out as well that John and Marcus both agreed that the chat function has been very helpful today. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate everybody joining in the chat and in conversation. Thank you. So I saw that Tony also had something in here for next. Let's see if I can find it.
Mary, while you're looking, maybe I could just explain.
Yeah, sure.
I was not able to make the last meeting, but I think Sandy might have brought it up. I was thinking it might be helpful if the appropriate folks from Eagle could put on a presentation explaining how groundwater surface water interface, Rule 57, how that works, how the testing, what the testing protocols are. I know we've had some folks that reach out to the Great Lakes PFAS Action Network and ask us about that. And given the fact that the fish guidance has kind of come more into focus, and one of the main purposes of that rule is to protect fish in addition to the waters. I thought it would be a timely topic if Eagle could do something like that.
We can look into that for the next meeting.
Appreciate that. So Kelly, do you think that you have enough guidance from us? Do you want to meet with a couple people after the fact, or do we just want to keep it that 1 week vetting to be admitted to meetings?
No, I think that works. For new member requests, I'm going to be reaching out to new members and scheduling something to actually meet with them virtually first, and we'll make sure we check that box first. And then any outside people that want the link to the meeting, they can request it 1 week prior.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments or suggestions or concerns?
Just thanks for the quick thinking last time. Yeah, what a world, but I felt like you handled it as well as you could have. So just don't want to let that go missing and everything.
Right. Do we want to go ahead and have a extra half hour to our evening if everybody has said as much as they want to say? And thanks to Brad for coming and giving the presentation at the beginning. And Amy Peterson for providing the updates for us. So I don't see anything, so I guess we'll see everybody next time, hopefully. And if anybody has any suggestions or concerns in between, please feel free to reach out to Sandy, to Jason, or to myself. Thank you.